Afternoon, how's it going? So this week we're into week 4 of our swim training and technique sessions, and we're continuing to focus upon rotation. Why are we continuing to focus upon rotation? Well, rotation in your freestyle stroke enables you to get into a decent catch position, so you can use the larger muscles of your back and shoulders, rather than being flat in the water and relying on your deltoids and some of the smaller muscles, which will obviously fatigue a lot quicker and also not enable you to produce as much power when necessary. The other thing with rotation is, in order to be able to rotate effectively, you need to be able to do it from your core and keep your core engaged. If your rotation is coming just because you're extending your arm out the front and then opening your shoulders up there and your hips are flat, then again you're going to get a bigger twist than you really want, and you're not going to be able to get as much rotation and therefore use those larger muscles, and you're also not going to be as you're not going to reduce the resistance in the water. You're not going to become as aquadynamic as you could do. So the rotation and the control from your hips really helps to be able to do that. The other thing that does is, if you rotate and you're not engaging your core effectively and using your core for rotation, the usual, or quite often the common occurrence, is that we end up with this banana shape where your feet go in one direction, your hips go in the other direction, and then your shoulders go back in the same direction as your feet are, in which case you're making that aquadynamics even worse because you're creating a much, much bigger hole again through which you have to go. So, with the exercise we're working on tonight, so we're working on corkscrew, which we were last week, and we will still do a little bit next week, but this week we're focusing upon that corkscrew drill, which basically is just about rotating down the pool under control. So you're keeping that, but engaging it from your hips. You have to keep your head still, your hands above your head, and just use your hips to get the rotation and let your shoulders follow, which is pretty much what we would do in the full stroke as well. What we're going to be moving on to next week is the dreaded, the feared corpse drill. It's another rotation drill. Both of these drills combined enable us to focus specifically on the rotation. There's very little else other than a little bit of breathing and obviously kick involved in doing it. We use the fins on them so that the propulsion and the sort of temptation to sink is not overriding, and therefore if you've got a moderate kick with fins on, you can maintain decent momentum through the water, and therefore you can concentrate on what you're doing with rotation, not trying to survive and not drown. So if you've got a great kick, you can do this drill without fins on. And so that is why we're focusing upon rotation at the moment.